As immigrants, we all left the chores of our home, the chores of our country, to relocate abroad for better life, for greener pastures, to enhance our living condition. So what happens when, after leaving the comfort of our homes to the West, and in the process, our life is cut short untimely? Today's story is a very sad and depressing one, and it's about a very beautiful, amazing mother of four who people that knew her while she was alive described her to be very hardworking and a great mother to her children. As a matter of fact, recently her twins moved all the way from Kenya to come join her in the UK, and shortly after that move, they unfortunately lost their mother to the cold hands of death.
Not joking, all my guys, them know me.
Hello lovelies, what's up and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa, and if you're new on this channel, please like this video, subscribe, click the notification bell so that whenever I post, you'll be the first to find out. I usually come to my channel to talk about people abusing the care profession, how people abuse their clients, abuse their patients. I'm sure if you're a subscriber, you should be very familiar with this kind of content from me. So I think it will be very unbalanced and unfair for things to go the other way around and then I keep quiet. So today's story is about Irene Umbugwa, who passed at age 46 whilst caring for her patient. Irene, who is originally from Gatudu North in Kiambu County, Kenya, moved to the UK 2 years ago in search of greener pastures, just like you and I, who longs for a better life. So she came to the UK 2 years ago and has since worked as a living carer for an agency. In case you're wondering, living care involves you living in the patient's home. It depends on the ratio. Some do 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. Some do 1 week in, 1 week out. Some do straight 4 weeks in, 4 weeks out. It just depends on your contract. Now, it is not new for her to leave her home, to go to work and stay away for weeks before coming back home. It is the pattern of her job, and which her family member says she actually enjoyed doing while she was alive. On 23rd June, Irene woke up in high spirits, very happy as usual, told her twins who just arrived from Kenya to the UK goodbye, prepared to go to work, went to work that day, and unfortunately never made it home alive. Now, concerns begin to grow when our agency couldn't hear from her nor her family members. When you work as a living carer, one of the things you must do is to update your record. So you have to notify your agency of what's going on, how your patient is faring, what you've done, the hourly report of, oh, is your patient sleeping, is he awake, how long has he slept, what he ate, has he had his medication, how is his mood, just general reports. This is a must. It's part of your job. You must update your agency every hour. Concerns began to grow when the agency suddenly stopped hearing reports from Irene. They could not hear anything from her, and the family as well tried to reach out to her but could not hear from her. It was all silent, and then immediately they had to contact the police, who arrived at the scene at Magby Road, Winson, Birmingham at 1 a.m. on the 23rd of June, only to meet Irene in a pool of her own blood. Unfortunately, she had passed from her injuries. She was hit on the head and on her face with a very sharp object by the person whom she was looking after, who goes by the name David Walsh, and a 34-year-old young man. So even whilst the police intervened, he also tried to assault the police because this man suffers from mental illness. And it gets me thinking, how exactly are they going to pass this judgment? Would Irene ever get justice, knowing fully well that the man that did this is actually sick, is suffering from mental illness? Would they want to do anything to him? I just keep wondering. If you've never worked in a mental health care home, you would not understand what it's like. As someone who has worked in a mental health care home, I get very, very scared when I want to go into the person's room. It's so scary. Talk more of living with someone with a mental health condition all by yourself. And because there are some people that suffer from mental health condition that are really calm, but then some are very violent. I have watched a client pull down a whole TV. TV that was installed on the wall and very much gated because of him. I have watched him drag it out and pull it, because I kind of feel like when they are in that space, there is nothing they cannot do. They can even lift a whole building. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but like, I feel like they get so much strength when they are having those episodes. So why would the agency offer a 1-to-1 with that kind of client? It should be at least 2-to-1. I've worked in a home where a particular resident must have at least 3 staff assigned to him at each particular time, except he's all by himself. But as long as you're entering his room to check him out, to clean him up, offer him his meal or whatever, it must be 3 of you. And secondly, you must go with a phone that once you're in distress or there's any problem, you just click on it and your whole staff will rush in. So knowing that this is the kind of clients that they have, why was Irene doing a 1-to-1 with him? Why would you send your staff to do a 1-to-1 with a client like that? Why not 2-to-1? Why not 3-to-1? It's not even like a one-off thing. I mean, this is a serious health and safety concern, if you ask me. And I think the agency has a lot of questions to answer, because she's gone. She's just 46 years old and she's gone due to negligence. Because if it was the other way around, if it was Irene that had done something to him, I'm sure this news would be all over social media. It will be trending. It will be everywhere. But now it's the other way around, and there's a definite silence on social media on this case, which I do not actually understand. Well, the good thing is that he has been charged. He's currently being held by the police, and he has been charged for the murder of Irene and at the same time for assaulting police officers. Irene's death shines a harsh spotlight on vulnerabilities that is being faced by migrant workers, especially caregivers. Who actually protects caregivers at this point? Caregiver job is rooted in deep compassion, and most times these services are usually offered behind closed doors, in quiet homes, in clients' homes, with very, very little protection. And as a caregiver, you're expected to handle everything, ranging from shopping, chores, personal care, documentation, and all sorts, offering medication. The list is endless with no real backup. And for African migrant workers, especially women, the risk is even greater. Now, I think it's time for us to start asking these hard questions, these very difficult questions that are seriously begging for answers. Who is protecting those who protect others? Because as a care worker, you are the forefront. You're there to protect your clients. But at the end of the day, who is actually our backup? Who is protecting those who protect others, or caring for those who care for others? What are agencies, what are companies, what's the government doing to ensure the safety of these caregivers? What exactly is being put in place? Why is health and safety not being taken as a priority? I have heard about some care homes where you're allowed to use a particular number of gloves a day. If you exceed that number, then you're left with no glove. How? It's your responsibility to make sure that the environment is conducive and I'm well protected, and I'm given all the tools I need to work. So who is actually checking all these things to make sure that these measures are being put in place? To be honest, if something is not done about this, then more families will continue to grieve in silence. This is really, really, really sad. This is very, very painful. I hope she was in a union, because I think it's in things like this that unions have to step in. She's gone. Irene is never coming back to her loved one. She's never coming back to her children, which is very heartbreaking. But how do we stop this from progressing even more? How do we stop more deaths like this, avoidable deaths? Like I said, there are some clients that when you work with them, they get some things directly from the hospital. So when they have cardiac arrest or something, the hospital or the district nurses are notified immediately. I have seen patients like that. So why is there not something like that in place for caregivers as well? So like when they are being abused, they could just press the signal and it will go straight to the agency or straight to the company, who would then contact, because I mean she passed and she was just there. It took hours for them to get to know that she has actually stopped updating or sending in reports, and then they had to notify the police, who went to the house and found out dead. This is very, very heartbreaking. And like I mentioned earlier, why was she working as a one-to-one with such a vulnerable patient, with a violent patient? It should be at least 3-to-1. Were they trying to cut down costs? A lot of questions are begging for answers. Guys, share your thoughts about this video in the comment section. This is beyond heartbreaking. It is so painful. Share your thoughts, of course, in the comment section, and I will see you all in my next one, guys. Bye.